Last time, the Forsaken Ascendancy found themselves defending a small fort from multiple armies, during which Gerador, like a tactical missile, managed to kill Lord Neverember, giving them just enough of a reprieve that they were able to hold out long enough for reinforcements to arrive, still losing many of their soldiers. At that moment, the Queen of the Undead chose to send a massive horde led by Zarandel, riding an undead dragon. This caused all the armies to flee. Seeing that they couldn't hold off this horde alone, they sounded the retreat to Shadowfell Keep, gathering all they could along the way. Upon arriving, they received word that Mirabar was hit by a relatively small group left over from the assault on Luskan, and were willing to accept refugees fleeing the undead, so they began the process of teleporting everyone out, using the Keep's teleporting room. They managed to get most away when Death and Yunari felt a familiar aura. Knowing this to be from the necrotic chaos orbs, they stopped sending people away. Being prepared as they could get, they waited for the siege to begin. As soon as it did, Aragon had a light bulb moment, realizing that the vision he has been seeing was referring to him getting the castle to fly. Immediately running back into the castle, asking his magic weapon Vesper specifically how to make it happen. Valiant in an attempt to prevent the enemy from breaching the gates, jumped down in front of them, casting spells and laying waste to the undead. Looking to support his ally, Gerador joined him, charging ahead to give his casting friend room and protection. Suddenly, the Queen teleported in front of Gerador, casting an 8th level Disintegrate. Death desperately attempted to dispel it, but failed. The gates were destroyed, and more importantly, Valiant was dead. His body burned to ashes. There was a moment of silence as the Queen teleported past the now badly wounded Gerador, and pulled out a black soul gem, harvesting Valiant's soul. As soon as she successfully had his soul trapped, a powerful radiant beam broke through the dark cloud cover, lighting up the Queen, and flying along the beams of light, a golden dragon and several angels flew straight for the Queen, attacking and demanding the release of Bahamut's chink. After a short struggle, she released the gem and fled. The angels, retrieving their goal, left, apologizing as they went that they weren't able to help more. The rest of the party jumped into action. Arendelle, finally finishing off the undead dragon his brother was riding, flew to Gerador's aid, arriving in time to protect him as a fresh onslaught arrived, at which time Death cast his wish spell to heal all of his remaining party members, a tear for Valiant on his undead cheek, apologizing for not being in time. The fight continued bloody and crippling as Aragon finally reached the control room and successfully began the process of flying this massive castle. The Queen, somehow prepared for this, sent a giant with a magic hook who thrust it into the ground next to the gate, and another over the wall. An ally of the group, being well connected with psychic energies, stepped forward, letting the party know that these hooks could only be destroyed by first destroying their counterparts. Death, who had been fighting off several mummy lords, took to the air, chasing after one, as Basudo, the ally, and Gerador went after the other. Meanwhile, Aragon discovered that this castle has some kind of magical cannon, of which he promptly fired at the enemies coming towards the castle gates, destroying a large portion of the approach, and causing Arendelle to fall. The Queen chose now to reappear, attacking Gerador with another powerful spell, bringing him low enough that many of her minions were able to kill him. Gaia released her power into him, causing Gerador to float into the air and rapidly transform into a Tarrasque, which began to rampage through the army. Buddy came to his side, mentally shouting out to the others that Gerador was obviously not himself right now, and directing Gerador to destroy what was needed, and helping Basudo to get off his back. Death then found the other device, destroyed it, and used his wand to call forth a massive horde of bats to cover his and his allies' retreat, finding upon his return that only he made it, his allies Strider and Yunari having rushed to Arendelle's aid and getting stuck. Death saw them just as Yunari chose to break through the Chaos Orb's barriers and plane shift, taking his friends with him. Doing so caused a huge explosion, pushing the now flying castle in its wake, and washing over the Tarrasque harmlessly and leaving an anomaly behind. Days later, safe in the now flying Shadowfell Keep, Death and Aragon finally get word from their friend Yunari, but it's not what they were hoping for.
Listen to me. I don't have much time. Something is interfering with my powers, but Strider, Arendelle, and I have all survived. We're pretty rough. I think that you're controls winter. It has long horns. We're stuck in this sphere, and it's kind of